the Via Stoica Podcast with Brendan and Benny. Powered by viastoica.com, your home for coaching, workshops, quotes, and Stoic content that inspires. Welcome to the Via Stoica Podcast again. We're here on this lovely day, wherever you are. Hopefully you're having a great time. But I'm here joined by Brendan, and that's always a good time for me. So Brendan, how are you doing?
Oh, that's excellent. Good to know, Benny. Good to know that I don't bring you too many troubles. I'm doing great though. It's having a lovely day here so far out in Panama. It's sun's out, so I'm happy. How are things going for you over there?
Yeah, things are well here. The sun is out as well, but it is slowly setting as it is later in the evening for me because I'm close to Athens. I'm in Greece still, but no, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Right, we're going to talk about something that we do wholeheartedly and full of passion, helping people, helping them live better using Stoic philosophy. And we do that here on Via Stoica. And just from the beginning, if you do want to have a free consultation to just talk to us for 30 minutes, you can go to the website and speak to us about what you would like to improve on, and have a little bit of a Stoic coaching session. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about what Stoic coaching is, and what it is not, and how to use it, and all of these things. But we're going to dive right into that. So, Brendan, if I ask you to give us a little introduction of what Stoic coaching is, how would you explain it?
I think because Stoic coaching is, almost something that I'm not saying we invented it by any means, but it's not something that you would see a lot of on the internet. So I think it's helpful to kind of, compare it to something else. So it's very similar to like a life coaching or a mentor type thing, obviously, but it has that backbone of Stoicism, so that we're always going to be referring back to the kind of core tenets of Stoicism. But it's very much not to be something that is, I like to think of it less as more of the, let's say, teacher relationship. It's not a teacher pupil relationship. I think it's more of you're walking alongside someone on this journey that they're going through. And we just happen to have more of the Stoic tools and tricks at our ready. So we're there standing next to you when you go through the problem. We're like, hey, you should try this. Hey, what about this tool? So it's really like a companion. A Stoic coach is someone who's your companion as you go through challenges like grief or divorce or stress or anxiety or these sort of things. We're there as your kind of little buddy to help you through that journey. But how do you describe, this new concept that we're kind of trying to get out into the world? How do you describe it to people there, Benny? Stoic coaching.
I look at it from a three-pronged approach. First, you have a Stoic coach, right? Someone who has gone through the works, who has applied it to life, who knows the benefits, who knows what is needed to apply it and where to find the knowledge. So saving you a lot of time to having to go into the books and diving into the things and figuring out the practices, right? We do encourage that, depending on your level of interest on learning Stoicism, to do that for yourself, but it is not necessary, right? Because you have someone who knows these things and who can tailor it for you in the specific situation that you're in. So that's one side. On the other side, you have, someone we work with who is interested in Stoicism, who wants to learn more about the philosophy. We can give you that. Again, saving you time. We can show you the books, the text, if you have questions, we can tell you the whys behind it and all those things. So if you do want to dive deeper into Stoic philosophy, that's where we've got you covered as well. And then there is the other side where it's, as Brennan said, it's the life coaching aspect. Do you want someone to help you live better, but not necessarily wanting to become a Stoic or learning more about the philosophy? But then we have those exercises, the practices for you to really tap into. And we've got to remember, Stoicism was the foundation of modern day therapies like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And although the coaching isn't therapy, right, we do have the ancient, tried and tested techniques that can help us still in our modern lives today. So that's the three-pronged approach that I have. You have a great Stoic coach who has the experience. If you want to learn more about Stoicism, we save you the time. We point you right to where you have questions and where you want to learn more about. And if you don't want to necessarily learn more about Stoics, but do want to apply the techniques, that's where you want to be with us. We can help you give them in the tailored, specific needs for your situation.
I think another important thing to add here as to something that, what is a Stoic coach is, I think especially coming from the perspective of a man, like having someone that you can kind of go to for advice and having, someone that you can talk through your issues with. We do have a situation where we've got a lot of particularly young men, middle-aged men who are isolated. They don't have necessarily that core kind of friend group or support group around them because, they're doing things to support their family and that sort of stuff. So if you've been looking for someone to just kind of be that sounding board, I think that's another kind of good way to think of a Stoic coach. What do you think about that, Benny?
Yeah, and to add there as well, to like a mirror or like a challenger, like someone who challenges your ideas, not like necessarily not someone who just tells you, okay, yes, I understand it's difficult, yes, it's going to be tough. No, it's someone who challenges you and who makes you look at life, your experiences from a different perspective.
Mm.
And to bring those, in the Stoic philosophy, the impressions are key, right? To help you make sure that you are looking at the event from the right angle and not with your colored glasses from, oh, this is, I got angry at this because of, whatever reason. No, it's like, okay, why do you get angry? What is behind it? And then really help you to, the Stoics say, to assent or proof to what is truly happening there. So challenging your beliefs is also a really big part of, the Stoic coaching process and a big part of Stoicism itself.
Yeah, well said. And I think that kind of leads into the next sort of question, which is, specifically for you, Benny, how can Stoic coaching help someone?
It is, first of all, it is that kind of, the peer support, knowing that someone has gone through stuff and learned how to deal with it. For example, with my personal, experiences going through divorce and seeing that, hey, you can get through to it. You can even flourish after it, right? It's not the end of the road. It's probably, most likely, in my case, it was the beginning of the road. So,
Mm.
once you can shift that perspective on things, that's one of the things that the Stoic coach can help you with, with other things that you're struggling with, just to have a, and again, that's the benefit of having a Stoic coach is having someone who doesn't have an opinion or place a judgment on what you are doing, right? On what you are saying, what you're going to struggle through. No, someone who's looking at it and trying to figure out what's true and trying to go to what is really happening in the present and where your actions should lie. So really just giving you that not giving you the answers, but helping you find the right questions to figure out where you've got to look more.
Well said. And I love that what you said, like to flourish, kind of flourish through the challenges, because that is really what it, and I'm my own personal stuff going through grief and things like that. It's been at the beginning, it's something that I'm like, it's a mountain that I have to climb. But at the end, it's this thing that I wear like a badge of honor of I went through this and I got through this. And I did that with stoicism predominantly. So no, well said there, Benny. I think that that is definitely key to it is the way that coaching has gone for me as we kind of have coached each other throughout multiple journeys in our own life, but it's been this idea of you asking me questions that I wouldn't have asked myself. I think that's the biggest unlock is to, I love how you said that too about the kind of lack of judgment. I mean, that's such a key part of stoicism is not judging events necessarily right away before you've collected all the information or gathered all the things. And so that's inherently what Stoics are good at. That is a muscle that they've, flexed a lot. So that's a good person to have as a sounding board. Because a lot of times that, people will bring in their own biases and their own perspectives into your challenges. But it's nice to kind of have that more observational kind of person that's helping you. I like that what you called too, calling it a mirror. That's really good. But I also think it's important too to help people understand what Stoic coaching is not. So I am someone who has gone through therapy quite a bit on and off throughout my life. And I think it's important to kind of differentiate the two because this is not therapy, right? It's the idea with Stoic coaching is we're going to help you, we're going to meet you where you are right now and help you move forward and how you're going to navigate life and challenges as you move forward. When it kind of creeps into the therapy realm is when we're talking about maybe why, right? So, hey, I might, as an example, hey, I have an anger problem, right? I react out of anger. Well, a Stoic coach would help you say, okay, let's talk about that today, how that impacts you today, and what you want to do moving forward. But a therapist would sit down with you and say, okay, what from your past influences why you get angry today? So that's kind of maybe a very simple version, but I wanted to make sure that that was a part of this was that Stoic coaching is not meant to replace therapy. Sometimes I like to think of it as as a step down from therapy. If you've tried therapy and maybe that didn't resonate with you as much, but you got a few little nuggets that were good. Sometimes having a peer support in the Stoic coach is something that can kind of take you to that next place. Or if something, therapy is also can be. It takes a lot of courage to go to therapy. It takes a lot of. It's got to be really vulnerable. So sometimes meeting with more of a Stoic coach is kind of a lighter version of that. Maybe you get comfortable being a little bit more vulnerable before stepping into the therapy office to really dig into the issues. But a Stoic coach is going to help you kind of take what you're dealing with today in this moment and talk about how you're going to move forward from this moment into the future. But Benny, what do you think about that as far as like kind of what is Stoic coaching not?
No, you've hit the nail on the head there, right? I think that that's where, and it could be, a supplement to therapy, right? Just like, okay, I'm doing therapy, I'm working on stuff here, digging in my past, but I really want to look at where can I put this into practice, into action right now, and even like in the future, right? What are the steps? How can I prepare? Because that's one of the big parts of stoicism as well, to say, okay, how can I prepare certain, where I have gone through certain situations. If I meet that for the next time, how can I then prepare myself for it? What techniques, what kind of pauses or whatever can I use? I think that that's also important to have that. So it's more of a, I'd say it's more of a practical, actionable method that we're using, where you could actually walk away from a session and you say, okay, I can do something with this right now, instead of like looking into the past and the underlying triggers. Because again, that's for the therapist to do. And I think that that's a really important distinguishing factor that we have to make, what it is and what it is not. And we are really that peer support, that people who've gone through it will help you as well go through it, and to give you that example that it's possible, right? And I think that that's a good way. And kind of building on that, like, who is it for? Like, who would you say, like, hey, this is someone who could benefit from Stoic coaching?
I mean, truthfully, I think everyone can benefit from a peer support type situation, but specifically Stoic coaching, I think I'll just share who I think it would be best suited for. Again, like I said, I think anyone can benefit from it. But if you've started to dig into stoicism, if you've started to understand it and it really resonates with you, you feel like this is me, then finding someone that is a few steps ahead of you in the journey is always going to be beneficial, no matter what, really, no matter what you're doing in life. But with Stoic philosophy and philosophy and learning and knowing ourselves, that is a journey that you can do on your own, certainly if you want, but you're going to if you wanna get into the fast pass lane of philosophy, having someone to walk alongside you is gonna give you those shortcuts and tools and tricks that might take you months or years to learn if on your own, but you can learn in a few sessions with us. So, I think that that's really what it is. I'm a big fan of the different strokes for different folks kind of idea, and sometimes you wanna move slow, and sometimes you wanna move fast. So, if you want that kind of more direct, practical application of stoicism, then I think a stoic coach is really important for you and really in a good thing to do because it can be that kind of accountability partner for you. Something that I definitely needed in the beginning of my journey, but was not available to me. And so, but yeah, so I think that's who it's best suited for. Is someone who's maybe just starting their journey and they want to kind of double down on stoicism. They really think that this is the guiding light for them. I think that's kind of who it's best suited for. But what about you, Benny? What do you think as far as is how, stoic coaching can best help people?
I think, and especially if you are looking for stoicism, but also for more of a pragmatic and practic application of, or just like, if you are more pragmatic or practical approach to life, like myself, where it's not very much into the spiritual realm of self
Mhm.
improvement and self help, but more of like, okay, let's stay grounded, let's stay here. This is what we know. Let's focus it on the knowledge that we have and work from there. And I think that that'll give a lot of people more. And I've noticed that not just in the coaching, but also on the spaces and on the other parts where we had interaction with the community, that people said that is like, I like just the applicability of this philosophy. And that's what we really want to show as well as the coaching aspect of it, that say, hey, you can use this right now. We've got some great techniques, some, workbooks. We also, the workshops that we offer will also show that this is something that everybody can use. And again, that makes that distinction between therapy and coaching clear, is like you can use this right now in what you're doing and make your life better in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I think one more thing to do too is, how, like, what is the process, or maybe you could just speak for a few minutes about what sort of the process of a coaching session might look like, just to kind of give people an idea of what that might feel like.
Yeah, it all differs per, with person that we work with. I think it's also something, as a coach, it's not my, I don't know what it is exactly that you want to be working on, right? And the grand scheme of things, like the goals that we set, yes, but in the session itself, there might come up some things that you want to work on specifically. And I also don't want to add my judgment too much to steer the session. So it is very open and have it the client work towards things. But we have, we set goals. So we try to steer and keep it focused on those goals that we set. Especially if like 4 sessions, that's quite short. So then we have it like a specific goal to work on, and we keep it a little bit more guarded towards that. And that if we have 12 sessions, that we can have some more wiggle room in it, but it usually starts with a good kind of conversation, investigation of where you are right now. What are you doing? What is the things that you're struggling with? What are some stoic techniques that we can use? How can we, practice that? And also to make sure that we create more awareness in that moment where we can use the coaching session as kind of an opener for that pause, right? We have the newsletter, the pause. That's something that we believe in that can really help people to refrain from acting on the impulses, but really focus on like what is the right thing to do. And that's something that we, try to hold our clients accountable for as well, but also give that awareness that this is an option. So we build those tools. So we work it from that to beginning. It's like, hey, what are we working on? How can we do it? How is it affecting you right now? And what can we help give you as a practical tool or practical ways that work for you to help you in a better deal with the situations? And that's kind of my take on a session. But how about you, Brendan?
Yeah. So for me, I think I think it's important to point out that, yeah, there isn't, the client, it's definitely a client centered approach. We want the client to kind of drive the train on where we go and the topics that we discuss. If you do go on the website, viastoica.com, and fill out a free consultation form, you will see kind of a document that you fill out with a few questions that ask you yourself, what have you been struggling with? What are the goals that you would like to work on? This sort of thing. So that's where we like to start. And so when you fill out that form, that's usually what we discuss kind of for the first session. And then after each session, you will receive kind of notes and a summary and just some observations that we made during the session. And I like to kind of, the second time I meet with the person, I like to kind of go back to the notes first and say, okay, how, what resonated with you, right? Because the observations that Benny and I make, they're just observations, but only you know you the best. So it's always good to kind of review those and then see what resonates, see maybe how that connected to other things. I think something that's important to point out about Stoic coaching is pattern recognition. I do think that a lot of our things, whether, we're talking about challenges that we have at work or with our spouse or with friends or family or whatever, all of those issues and challenges usually, not 100%, but usually have a common thread throughout all of them. And that's where someone like a Stoic coach can be that kind of independent third party that's observing your life and observing your challenges and can offer those sort of perspectives that might say, hey, is this a possible through line through these problems? Maybe every problem that you're having all connects back to, and having poor communication or something like that. So maybe you need to work on your communication. And this is where I think, again, doubling down on this idea of leaving the judgment out of it, trying to be the observer of the situation, taking that bird's eye view of your life and trying to give you the sort of direct path to tranquility, calm, connection, the things that you are seeking. That's really, I think, what it comes down to, but very client driven and very much the idea of walking alongside you and offering the tools and advice that we can offer.
Yeah, I like that. And what is the, and obviously, like, I get this question a lot, like this is why we have this episode. Like, what do you think that is the kind of the misconception or the idea that people might have wrong about Stoic coaching that you feel that people face?
I think the issue with Stoic coaching right now is, and maybe Stoicism in general, is that you have kind of different factions of Stoicism, and you've got Broism with kind of the Andrew Tate sort of world, and then you have another one which is like Stoicism with a dollar sign S, where people are just trying to capitalize on it. And that is something that, I mean, Benny and I, we've had these conversations offline, but it's difficult for me to say, hey, obviously I'm trying to offer help and care and compassion to people. Money is a part of that. And because we want to be able to build this, we want to be able to take this to a place where it can help and benefit as many people as possible. So the misconception I feel like is sometimes that we are trying to monetize philosophy, and we're trying to kind of monetize this and use this to make money. And it has absolutely nothing to do with making money, but there is obviously a money component to paying for a podcast and paying for a website and paying for the services that we provide, and these sort of things. So the biggest misconception that I want to try and push back on personally is that this isn't some sort of a game where Benny and I are trying to get rich by doing Stoic coaching. We're trying to truly charge the least amount we can just to help as many people as possible. So I think that is one thing that we're trying to navigate well, is to not make this so much as the dollar sign stoicism, but true, real stoicism, getting these messages and these ideas out to as many people as possible and scaling this philosophy as far and wide as we can. And doing that by creating a podcast, putting it on social media, creating video clips, going and speaking at Stoic Week in the Netherlands, going and on other people's podcasts. And this stuff, there's expenses and things that go along with this. So I think the biggest misconception is that this is some sort of money grab. But if anything, this is just, I believe, I guess I'm a little bit speaking for Benny, is that this is what we believe is the best approach to life and the best way to achieve tranquility. So why not go out there and try and give it to as many people as possible?
Yeah, I agree with that full-heartedly, and I think that that's the difficult thing that then the Stoic ethics comes to mind as well. Is like how can you, and this is a question that I remember seeing on LinkedIn being asked as well. How can you ask like money for this? Yeah, this is also the modern day of putting value to things is by money. And
Mm.
if you look at coaching and pricing there, there's a whole range of what you can ask, right? And we are offering different things as well, workshop, and you can listen to the podcast and get so much more value, get so a lot of value out of it as well. It's just that Stoic coaching that we offer is very tailored, very specific, with very precise and in-depth notes. One of the other things that I think that the common misconception about Stoic coaching is what you kind of leaned on as well, the broicism and the masculinity factor, right? That it's only for men. We do get like a predominant, clientele is men. And I do think that there's a reason for it, because there's a lot of men who are kind of lost. And as you mentioned, like isolated way, and they just need some more guidance, right? To navigate these modern times. And I think what it is really is not to create emotionless, soulless people, but to create people who are focused on protecting and guarding their soul and character by doing the right thing, by doing what is by looking at what is happening, acting out of impulse, but then just making sure that they're doing the right thing and really humanizing it more than just creating like Mr. Spock, or the those kind of the Vulcan kind of people, for people who don't know Star Trek, but that kind of so that's one of the common misconceptions, that people don't know what to get. But we really try to show you the beauty of life with the philosophy, that life can be very positive and beautiful. And that's something that I really wanted to, showcase as well. That that's one of our goals. Life is great to be lived, but we shouldn't attach ourselves to the wrong externals and focus on the internal.
Well said, Benny. And also, you'll be excited to learn. We recently started watching Star Trek just the other day after our conversation with
Which
Shermeen.
one?
The Next Generation.
Nice.
So that's what I'm going. Maybe 3, 4 episodes in. So the journey has begun.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Should watch it. I've watched that recently, but yeah, we could. That's a new episode. Then we can talk about that in another episode.
But no, this was great, Benny. I think this was a good conversation to have, to kind of give people an idea of the more specifics behind Stoic coaching. If you do have any other questions, if you something that you're wondering, you can definitely reach out to us and book a free consultation on viastoica.com. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to get to know our listeners a little bit more, even if it's just that. That's a win for us. So if you just want to hang out and talk for 30 minutes, we're there to do that. No requirement to do any sort of coaching after the fact. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say? Any kind of conclusion, or you want to wrap this up?
Oh, I think, what we're trying to do with Stoic coaching is just, again, try to share the message of philosophy of Stoicism to help people live better lives. And this is a very tailored, individual, one-on-one way for you to get down to the nitty gritty, to the specifics that you need help with, with some people who, the more on a peer-to-peer level, but just a few steps ahead, who know that these things help and can work for you as well in a practical way. And that's kind of what we're really trying to do with this. So, but there's other ways, the podcast, a workshop, a book, a free consultation, as Brendan said. There's no real push to do it. But if you feel like, hey, I could do some one-on-one help support with this, feel free to reach out, and we'll see how we can help you.
Yeah, if as I've always said, and as I will continue to say on here, time is our most valuable asset. It is the only thing you will never get back. So I think what Stoic coaching can do for you is get your time back. It helps you save time on your journey of improving yourself and finding tranquility in your life and peace and calm in your life. You will get there faster with a Stoic coach. You can absolutely do it on your own, and you should if that's what you need to do. But if you want to get the fast pass tickets and get to the front of the line a little bit quicker, Stoic coaching is the way to do that. And you can sign up for a free consultation on Via Stoica. I think that's good, Benny. This was an excellent episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Benny, you want to close us out?
Yeah, no, thank you for being here again, and a wonderful Stoic coach. We also have wonderful conversations in the background, just the two of us coaching each other. That's really good, to have. So I know the benefits of having a Stoic coach. But everyone, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in the next episode again here on the Via Stoica podcast. But for now, thank you again. And if you do need some help, some support, reach out. We're always here for you. Thank you for listening to the Via Stoica podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, leaving a review. Your feedback will help us reach more like-minded people on the journey to self-improvement. If you want to get in touch with us or find more information, you can go to viastoica.com, your one-stop platform for all things Stoicism and living better. And remember, virtue is the only good.